Hey folks, welcome back to Axis. In this part, we are going to cover how we can interact with the program using the React client. We are going to build a React client for interaction between our program through the blockchain, the Solana Development. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. First of all, we'll create a Vita project with the help of Jan. We'll give it a name of counter_pr_front and we'll use React for a framework. And we are going to use the TypeScript. Yep, we are done. I'll just cd into counter_pr_frontend and open the VS Code with it. As we can see, our project is initiated. We have our app.tsx file here, index.css here, and main.tsx up here. Right, so we are going to go ahead and do our app.tsx. And these are just typos. We are going to ignore it for now. So what the guide says, if we are on the USL that we are, we'll need to update our vita.config.ts so that our hot reloading works. We'll just copy this configuration. And in our vt.config.ts, we are just gonna paste it right like this. Now we'll just press command yarn del we'll just yarn to install all the dependencies. Okay, so finally our project has installed all the dependencies and linked them all. Now what we need to do is just run the command yarn del. And yep, now we'll just open localhost 5173 in our browser. Okay, so here we go. Here is a sample counter program that comes initially with the Vita project, right? Now let's go ahead and install some of these dependencies. So now though all of our dependencies have been successfully downloaded and been installed, now what do we need to do is we just need to go into the source directory in the app.tsx file and replace this code in that. So what we are doing in here, first of all, we are importing the use memo from the React. Thereafter, we are importing connection provider and wallet provider from the wallet adapter React that we just downloaded. And thereafter, we are importing wallet adapter network from wallet adapter base and wallet model provider and wallet multi-button from wallet adapter UI, React UI. These will be very helpful to build the UI of the wallet button. Thereafter, lastly, we are importing the cluster API URL from web3.js library. And then we're importing all of the styles from the wallet adapter React UI. So in our app function, what we are doing is we are just initiating a network of Devnet with the help of wallet adapter network. Thereafter, we are creating an endpoint with the help of use memo and cluster API URL, right? And this wallet use memo will contain all of the default wallets which could be present in the user's browser, right? And lastly, we are returning all of the components of our DApp inside of these contexts, right? So let's go ahead and run our code. Firstly, let me save it. Just go ahead here. Let's yarn dev it again. Okay, so here we go. Here we have a simple UI for the program in which we say hello Solana. So as we can see, our UI is ready. We have got a simple UI of hello Solana and we have a button of select wallet. So when we press on this button, it can automatically know which of the wallet we have installed in our browser, such as I have the Phantom for Solana. Right, so let me put my password in here, and it can connect with our account. Voila, we can see our address up here, and this is how easily we can set up our wallet in our UI, right? Now let's add the Anchor 0.29 from Coral XYZ to our project. Right, for this, we just need to insert this command yarn add at Coral XYZ anchor at 0.9. Okay, so as we can see, our Anchor 0.29 library has been installed from Coral XYZ. After that, we need to create a setup.ts file in the source directory in the Anchor folder. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this code. And in VS Code, we'll need to create a new folder known as Anchor. Inside, we'll create a file called setup.ts. Okay, I'll create this file manually. I'll just rename this folder. Maybe we need to delete this. Okay, so we'll create a setup.ts file, inside which we'll paste this code. So what this code does is, in here we are importing ideal accounts. Ideal is basically an interface through which we can interact to our program, right? So what we are doing is, firstly we are importing ideal accounts and programs from Coral XYZ. Thereafter we are importing the ideal and counter from /ideal. We'll put this ideal soon. And then what we are doing is we are importing the cluster API URL, connection, and public key from web3.js. And here we are establishing the program ID with the help of public key, and we are establishing a connection with the cluster API URL to the Devnet. Right. And lastly, we are just exporting the program and the counter PDA. Right. And lastly, we are also exporting the counter data from our ideal accounts. So let's go ahead and let us create a new directory called components and add a counterstate.tsx file in it with the code. So let's go ahead and create a new file, components. Inside of it, we'll add a counterstate.tsx file and paste this code. So what this code is doing is, we are importing the use effect and use state and use connection from. Thereafter, we are importing the use connection from wallet adapter React. Then we are importing program, counter PDA, and counter data from our setup.ts file, which we just initialized, creating a function called counterState, which establishes a connection, and then use the use state to set the counter data. And thereafter we use the use effect statement to set the counter data to the actual data of the program. Thereafter we are initializing the subscription ID that takes the address of the account we want to watch and callback for when the account changes, right? So lastly, we just return the connection.remove account change listener with the subscription ID which we initialized. And then we just return the counter data. And lastly, we just return the value of the count, right? So we'll just save this. And now the final step is to add the counter state component to our app.tsx file, and we'll add this at the bottom of our app.tsx file. We just need to import it, and we just need to put it like this, counter state. Okay, so let's go ahead to our app.tsx, and in here I'll import counter state. Okay, and then under the hello Solana, we'll just render it. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to instantiate the copy of IDL file as we have imported it in our setup.ts. So I'll just go ahead and hop into our anchor program, that was count_pr, and open it with the Visual Studio Code. In here, we'll just go to the target folder. Inside the types, we'll get the counter.ts file. We just need to copy this, and in our anchor folder, we just need to initialize idl.ts file and just paste this up. Now it should import it. Right. Now let's go ahead and look after our website. Our UI, is it working or not? Okay guys, so here in the code we got the error because of the buffer, which was in the setup.ts. We just need to initialize the buffer with window.buffer is equals to buffer.buffer, and we need to import it from the buffer, right? So as you can see in our website, it shows everything. We can connect our wallet, and the number of count is by default set to 0. Right now, what we need to do, we'll just create an increment function. For this, we will need to create a file in component folder with the name increment button.tsx, and in here we'll just go to the guide and we'll just copy this code and paste it here. Right, so that's all we need to do. Now we can go into our app.tsx file, and now guys, we'll just need to import this button from, we'll just import increment button from /components /increment button, right? And we'll put our increment button over here. So that's all we need to do in our app.tsx file. Now when we go to our DApp, you can see our increment function. Firstly, we'll need to connect the wallet. Thereafter, we can use the increment function. So it's loading, and voila, we have got our phantom wallet request. However, it seems to be malicious for some reasons. However, we will proceed anyway, and we'll just confirm this transaction. Okay, so after our transaction is successfully completed, we can see our count is 1. So our count is incremented basically through our function in our from our program, right? So voila, this is all we need to do through this tutorial, right? In this tutorial, we got to know how we can make Solana program, specifically increment program, from which we can increment a basic number, and thereafter we learned how we can test our program, and then we just interacted with using our React client. So that's all for this session, guys. And now you can consider yourself a full-stack Solana developer. Now we should move forward to some more interesting courses. You can go to solana.com/hackathons if you want to make some interesting projects and grab some bounty. You can go to earn.superteam.fun to get paid for your work, right? You can head over to soldout.app/course to build some more advanced Solana dapps. And here are some links to the next dapps from the official Solana guide that you can cover up. That was it for this session, guys. Until next time, happy coding.